If you manufacture physical products for other businesses, you've probably faced the scenario of watching your margins completely shatter. You're trapped in an unwinnable price war. It doesn't matter how durable your machinery is or how much cutting-edge engineering went into it. When your sales team walks into a procurement office, your work is flattened into a single row of specifications on a buyer spreadsheet. Then comes the ultimatum. The buyer points to a foreign competitor, offering those exact same specs for 30% less. You have to match the price or you lose the account. It is a brutal trap. Holding firm on your price costs you the sale, but slashing your rates to win the bid destroys your profit margin and eventually your business. Relying on physical product specifications and a price tag guarantees a race to the bottom, and in that race, the manufacturer always loses. The most effective way to survive this trap is counterintuitive. You refuse to lower your price. In fact, you stop selling the product entirely. Back in the mid-20th century, a marketing theorist named Theodore Levitt observed something specific about consumer behavior. He pointed out that nobody actually wants to buy a quarter-inch drill. What they really want is a quarter-inch hole. Taking that logic to the industrial level gives us a concept called servitization. Instead of selling a physical asset, you sell a guaranteed outcome. You shift to offering your product as a service. To see how this works at scale, look at Rolls-Royce. For decades, their primary business was manufacturing multi-million-dollar aviation engines. When an airline buys an engine outright, they assume a massive financial risk. If that machine breaks down, the plane sits on the tarmac, costing the airline money every single minute it isn't flying. Rolls-Royce solved this with a model called Power by the Hour. Airlines no longer buy the physical engines. They only pay for the exact number of hours that engine successfully keeps a plane in the sky. Michelin faced a similar pricing trap. They were losing massive logistics contracts to low-cost tire manufacturers. Their response was Michelin Fleet Solutions. They stopped selling tires by the unit. Logistics companies are now billed per kilometer successfully driven, while Michelin handles all the maintenance, rotation, and pressure checks. By absorbing the operational risk, these manufacturers secured their client relationships. Cheaper competitors became irrelevant because they were still trying to sell parts, while the client was buying a guaranteed result. Now, let's scale this down to an everyday business. Imagine a local distributor selling an industrial air compressor for 800,000 Thai baht. Under the old model, the buyer aggressively negotiates that initial price down. Then, next year, the factory hires a cheaper third-party mechanic to maintain the machine, stripping the distributor of any recurring revenue. Here is the servitization flip. The distributor delivers that exact same machine to the factory floor for free. The buyer pays zero upfront capital expenditure. Instead of absorbing the massive upfront capital expenditure shown on the left, the client moves to the flexible operational expense line on the right. They are metered and billed strictly for the cubic meters of clean air they consume. The factory turns a heavy fixed cost into a variable cost that scales with their actual production. Meanwhile, the seller secures a long-term recurring revenue stream that eventually exceeds the machine's original sticker price. The seller's financial incentives are now tied to the factory's operational success. A competitor trying to sell a cheap piece of metal cannot cross that protective moat. Pulling this off requires strict operational control. If you don't manage your data and cash flow properly, this model will lead you straight to bankruptcy. This chart visualizes the valley of death. Providing hardware for free on day one means absorbing the manufacturing cost, requiring a long payback period before profiting. To survive, internet-connected sensors must constantly monitor your machine inside the client's factory, preventing abuse and securing your investment. This forces a change in your engineering goals. Since you own the equipment, you profit most when it lasts longer and requires fewer repairs. You've stopped selling replacements and started engineering for durability. This isn't just a pricing trick. It's a reorganization that connects your finance, engineering, and service teams into a single coordinated feedback loop. Tying your revenue directly to a client's success is a transparent way to do business, and you succeed only when they do. Because this model rewards durability and resource efficiency, it provides the foundation for the next shift in the market, weaponizing the circular economy and sustainability for profit.